Hey guys, welcome to Past Gas. Today we are talking about customs with a K. This type of car, you might know it as a lead sled or the precursor to hydraulic cars. They are super influential in everything we do nowadays in cars. And it all started in Southern California in the 50s, early, late 40s. And joining with us today is Jimmy Hilton.
Hey, how's it going?
Brent Lawson. So let's get into it. Southern California, summer 1957. Elvis is on the radio. Ronald Reagan is still an actor, and car culture is booming. In the car scene during this time period, the people who wanted to go fast were into hot rods and drag racing. Then, there were the people on the other side of the spectrum, who prioritized style and cruising the boulevards. This group was into customs, also known as Leadsleds. Custom cars of the 50s were truly a personalized mechanical expression of the owner and builder. They had names like Copper Cart or Candy Coupe and had lavish custom interior upholstery and restyled bodywork such as chop tops, French lights, and molded grills. There were thousands of these custom cars cruising the streets and several magazines that covered them like Custom Cars and Rod and Custom. But by the mid-1960s, the scene was essentially gone. Where did these customized cars come from? Who built them? And why did they disappear? Today on Past Gas, custom cars with a K.
All those questions will be answered on this episode of the Bermuda Triangle.
Questions with a K. Brent, you probably know the most about customs out of all of us.
Oh, that's a statement. Let's see if I can live up to that.
Brent you're like so into the old 1960s, 1950s cars.
I really am, because I think I've learned that this culture is so committed to the bit in every which way.
Yeah.
That is intrinsically unique to custom culture. Like if you go to a Moon Eye show or if you go to like Grand National Roadster show, you'll see like Japanese guys wearing like selvage denim and you'll see like punk dudes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But what brings them together is like these old cars and this love for, rockabilly music and things like that. And so,
it's cool.
It's cool. Yeah. It's just cool.
It is cool.
It's super cool.
I think the one thing that's really cool about these cars is they go so in depth. Like these are builds. Like this is not just a bolt-on thing. They are like, okay, I'll get the car. Paint's already probably pretty nice on it. They strip the whole thing down and they will rebuild it from the frame.
Yeah,
and, like, chop the
paint is
tops.
like the least of it though. I mean, paint is very, as we'll read later, like paint is very important on these customs, but in the early days, they're like literally Frankensteining these cars together.
Yep.
One guy we'll hear about, Bill Hines, spent basically a 70-year career just melting lead under these cars and like reforming the whole shape of it to be like a completely unique build, which is insane to me.
I do that on the weekends.
Yeah, you should.
I melt lead.
That's why your hair's falling out.
Yeah, it's a real problem.
For anyone who doesn't know, Brent is on our merch side. He's an awesome, I'd say, stylist in that department. He's got a lot to say about the direction of our art direction.
Yep.
He's killing it. And he introduced me to the writer of this episode, Ross Ruiz. Follow him on Instagram. He's awesome. His name is 46 to 64.
Ross is so cool.
He's super cool.
Sick.
Yeah. He just knows every little anecdote about everything. He bought one of the first custom cars ever done. One of the first lowriders, right?
Yeah. So I know Ross had like a 39 Ford. So Ross and I met at like a Bob's Big Boys event.
Yeah.
And out of all of like the really clean, BMWs and Camaros that were like pulling through.
The Corvette
guys. There was this like really dusty 59 El Camino with like scalloped paint on it.
That's cool.
And we were like, who's the owner of this car? And we just sat and talked. And he and his wife Chelsea moved from Detroit and like just started like documenting like what's left of like
sick
custom culture, and he's like in his early 30s, and like it was right then and there when I was like, this is like homie for life.
Yeah.
Like, who else is doing that? He's saving the world, I think.
I was surprised at how young he was too. I mean, compared to me, but he's wise beyond his years, and he's like
awesome. Yeah,
he'll just talk like I met him at your birthday, and he was just kind of like pointing out cars and telling me stories about each thing, and he's just so psyched to be in Southern California right now, moving from Detroit, just like the epicenter of where this all started, and it's like if I was like studying Italian food my whole life, and then I moved to Florence or something,
and you're just like
oh
surrounded.
my god, yeah. This is where pancetta's from.
Oh, ricotta,
ricotta.
Yeah, Ross also was part of the Lowrider episode as well for the viewers. He's
a huge resource.
Yeah, he was great. He gave me like all the info. He gave me the big history lesson.
Yeah.
And we're about to give you guys the big history lesson.
Oh, good segue, dude. But before we start, real quick, what's like out of this era, what is your dream car? If you found this in like the classifieds, what would you buy?
Sure. I think I would love like to build a 39 Ford, or even like a 35 Ford. I like to say that I love cars that look like ladies and not men because they're just more beautiful.
Yeah.
And they have these like dramatic Art Deco lines. And actually, there's this YouTube channel. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Oh, called Barris Customs. And like, I just like watch this guy build these like beautiful ladies and take them out on the road.
That's
and
awesome.
My partner, he'll be like, that is scary as fuck. There's no way you are bringing a car home without airbags, seat belts.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of these cars don't have seatbelts.
Yeah, like none of them.
Not even
I
a
think
lap
it was
belt.
like the 70s before they started. Yeah. I think when you first said that, I was like, oh, a Carmen Ghia is a lady. That's a lady for sure.
That's a big lady. That's
a Carmen
like
Ghia?
That's kind of a wide lady.
She's got curves.
Yeah, but okay. Well,
I think most VWs are ladies.
Fair.
I could see that. I think if I had to choose any car from this time period, I would go with a Myers-Manx.
Yeah.
I like them a lot.
They're awesome.
I love them.
You can still find like a replica kit.
Yeah. I think the original company's still making them now.
And those are built on Bug chassis, right?
They're built on the Bug. But like, I think it'd be so cool to like put a rotary engine in one.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool, and do like some old school Japanese like 15-inch wheels, pretty tiny.
Oh yeah.
And like just make it more of like a Japanese hybrid.
That'd be awesome.
Like SoCal beach culture.
Hell yeah.
I think it'd be sweet. My dad had one too. He had one of the originals.
Oh man.
Yeah. But he like left it in Mexico.
Oh no.
Because they had a house down there because they used to go surfing.
Yeah.
And they sold the house, and he's like, yeah, I went to the airport to leave, and I just left it in the parking lot.
What the hell?
And I was like, Dad.
That's nuts, dude. Yeah. I think if I were to pick any car, after reading the script and seeing all these cars, they're all amazing. The one that the Buddha buggy is based off of is sick. I think that's an Impala.
59.
Yeah. I think I would go with like a 49 Merc though.
Classic.
Chop it. I think I would have it like light gold color and then Venetian blinds in the back.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's those Mercuries are like what I like envisioned the custom scene being, because like whenever you like look at even like the artwork like that, like random artists will like, because a lot of custom culture is a part of like regular culture, right? Like rockabilly culture and tattoos and Americana, right? And so like the sled is like, it is that 49 Mercury. It's the 51 Mercury, it's like, those are the cars that are like the Toyota Supra of like the
Sure.
GM world for like the American world. You know?
Exemplary models. Yeah.
Totally.
Well, cool. Let's jump into it. The origins of custom cars can be traced back to the early days of the automobile. Car owners were inspired by coach builders wanting to restyle the factory steel into something unique, so they started mixing and matching parts, doing their own fabrication. Customs truly started to blossom in the early 30s alongside hot rod culture in California. Early customizers would do subtle things like swap headlights or change the bumpers and windshields.
That's subtle. Change the windshield.
Also something that no one would ever notice.
Yeah.
Right? But there was always the type that would completely reshape the factory metal on the car for a one-of-a-kind appearance. One of the very popular early customizations was chopped roofs, which is when you remove metal from the roof pillars and reattach it at a lower height.
Very cool.
They do it, yeah.
Very cool
It still looks
modification.
cool. If you had a convertible, without a doubt, the most popular way to change the appearance of the roof line would be to chop the windshield and add a padded Carson-style top. These padded tops were constructed out of an internal framework, then wrapped in chicken wire and upholstered.
What does this look like? I need to see.
It kind of reminds me of like a lawn delay.
I don't know what that is.
How you see
It's
those?
like a half convertible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen any like cigarette car Cadillac sedan or
okay.
DeVille with that like, you know, cloth top?
Interesting.
I think
Okay.
it's that.
Got
It's
it.
like the chauffeur doesn't get to experience the sun, but the people in the back do.
Right.
This is cool.
So the name Carson Top originates from Carson Top Shop in Los Angeles, which is
Oh.
customization shop. Early pre-WW2 customs could be seen with Blackwall tires, DeSoto Ripple bumpers, flipper hubcaps, and chrome Appleton spotlights.
Mm-hmm.
That was 1930s and 40s hot boy stuff like work wheels and coilovers today.
Yeah.
So putting in Jimmy terms. A couple of the early kings of custom cars were Jimmy Summers of Los Angeles and Harry Westergaard of Sacramento. These two customizers built elegant custom cars. A prime example of this early style is Gene Garrett's 1936 Ford built by Westergaard, with an incredible chopped removable top, sunken license plate, and a 1942 Packard grille. These modifications totally changed the stock appearance of the 36 Ford into a familiar yet completely unique entity.
I think like what's interesting about this is like when I hear of like clip conversions and like, you know, French delights and smoothened out body panels,
Yeah.
it really like reminds me of like the era that I grew up in, which is like the golden era.
Like
right?
S15 front ends on S13s.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
You know?
There's similarities between it.
You guys, I'm so excited to announce our partnership with Hankook Tires, our sponsor for this episode of Pass Gas. Hankook Tires are developed to suit a wide range of vehicles with an aggressive design that offers both protection and good looks. Dynapro SUV and light truck tires can take you from point A to who knows where in comfort and style. With long tread life thanks to Hankook's durable compound, you're sure to get both on and off the beaten track again and again. With Hankook's extensive product family, you're sure to find something that suits your needs. There's a reason that Hankook is the best in the industry and we chose them as our partner sponsor. We use them for our personal cars all the time. They're just great tires and they look great. Anything that you want to do in a car, there's a tire and Hankook makes it. So get your tire journey started at hankooktire.com and see just how far these wheels can take you. That's Hankook, Hankook, hankooktire.com.
Some people just know that they can save money on their car insurance by checking Allstate first. Just like how I check my fluids and tires first before going on a long road trip. I don't want these hot summer temperatures to mess with my car. Checking first is smart, so check Allstate first and see how much you could save on car insurance. You're in good hands with Allstate. Potential savings vary, including based on how you buy. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Can you explain what French lights are for anyone?
Yeah, so French delights are a body modification that basically utilizes the existing planes of, you know, the body panel or front quarter panels. And usually like what they would do is like they would, you know, take lead and add sections on top of like the bezel, if you will, of like the lights, so that they look like they're recessed, so that they look like they're sunken in.
So you actually don't have to change the housing of the light. You just add material to the front so it looks more sunken.
I think that was one of the ways in which they did it.
Yeah.
And of course, like depending on like who was like building your car, like you would get like a lot of different variances and like how those things could look. But like Voodoo Larry, I know is like building.
That's a sick name.
That is a really sick name.
Voodoo Larry.
That guy gets down.
He gets down. Okay.
If you have Voodoo in your name,
don't with him.
Yeah. Make great donuts, make great cars.
Yeah.
But in many ways, like people can't really with Voodoo Larry because he makes some of the most beautiful cars. One is, I believe, a 51 Mercury that has been converted into a wagon that also has Frenched headlights.
This guy makes some cool stuff. Oh. And
gotta
he
look
looks cool as heck.
Yep.
He looks exactly how you would think.
Yeah.
And he had a Zephyr actually at this year's Grand National Roadster Show. Nolan and I went to that show, and it was so good.
I love this like marine color he's used on his Mercury.
Yeah.
That is a cool color.
Yep.
So going back to this Harry Westergaard 1936 Ford, this thing looks super gangster. It looks like a snub nose revolver to me. Like the top is super chopped. It's a slick top too, which is awesome.
Love a slick top.
Love a slick top. Oh, Jimmy, you do love slick tops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anti-sunroof.
Dude.
To the day I die.
We are pale boys.
Yeah, that's
we
right.
Can't be in the sun, right?
That's right. I don't need
Doctor's
it to live.
orders.
I just want to say, so I Googled French lights, and this thumbnail for this YouTube video looks insane. This guy looks like he's been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Who is that guy?
Let's see what his YouTube channel is.
I was like, is that
Rat
Bob
Rods
Murphy?
for Africa?
Oh.
What?
Dude, this guy's in Africa.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's
oh my God.
sick.
I don't know, but
We'll watch it after.
yeah, this guy looks cool. He's doing like road trips across the
Do you
desert.
know how long I have been looking for like black builders in this scene?
I think he's South
And
African. So yeah, I don't think.
Is he black?
No, he's not.
Oh,
He's white.
fuck.
I think he just lives. He's South African. It looks like.
Okay. Well, we need everyone. You know, I
Yeah.
think like that's the cool thing about custom culture was like actually it was pretty diverse, and like although like we look at the scene now and you know maybe like have like I don't know, I always had mental images like in my head of like what custom culture looked like.
Yeah.
And I think although it always interested me, like I never really saw my reflection in custom culture. And it wasn't really until like Ross started interviewing Bob Murphy that like I found that, oh, like, yeah, like legendary painters like Bill Hines and like Tom Kelly were working with black people on building like some of the coolest Corvairs and customs of like the time.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of Latinos in this.
Yeah.
As we get down to the end of the story, one of the most famous upholsterers of these custom cars is Latino. So after World War II, many young GIs return home with new skills and abilities which further fueled their flame for car customization. But once Hot Rod magazine came out in 1948, the interest spiked to a whole new level nationally. Custom body shops were popping up like wildfire in Southern California, and a new shop opened up by two brothers, George and Sam Barris, would shape the custom car world in a way no one had ever seen before.
So cool that most of these guys were just like working on fighter planes, like around that stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's exactly how Bozozoku started.
Took that like mentality of like, that's a fast plane.
Yeah.
I want to take that kind of imagery and put it into a car.
Yeah.
Very cool. And they probably, like used a lot of these skills that they learned over there. Like, oh, we got to, this thing's got a bullet hole in it. We got to reshape this aluminum and get this ready for combat again.
Yeah.
I think super cool. I love it. Any World War II reference, I'm in. I'm in.
Oh, now we got it. Jimmy's engaged now.
This is epic.
It's widowy epic. The Barris brothers, originally from the Sacramento area, started getting into custom cars before the war. George was trained and inspired by the previously mentioned Harry Westergaard. George opened a custom shop in Bell, California in 1944, and a year later, when his brother Sam was discharged from the Navy, he started working as well. After the brothers built a pair of fully customized 1940 Mercury coupes for Al Andrel and Johnny Zero, they gained notoriety and helped put the Barris name on the map.
Hey, that guy Johnny Zero.
Johnny Zero. He makes body kits, right?
Yeah.
Johnny Zero?
Zero.
Yeah.
Zaro.
Zaro.
Got it.
Look.
Johnny Zaro.
Zaro. I'll say Zaro from now on. These two cars were customized nearly identically, and the chopped roofline was a huge improvement over the factory look. Gill's Mercury had a chopped roof, fadeaway front fenders, and 1949 Cadillac taillights grafted to the rear fenders.
That's cool.
The cars were also lowered by channeling the body over the frame, giving them an even more aggressive appearance. This method was used to lower cars before the days of airbags and hydraulics. Chopped and lowered cars during this time, which included multiple body modifications, were coined full customs.
That's crazy. Today we're like, yeah, just buy a coilover kit. They're back then like, hey, we gotta chop the body.
Yeah, we gotta
We don't got no money. We don't got shit.
we got this scrap metal though, and
I got a torch.
yeah.
Start cutting.
One of many unique things about the Barris shop was their spelling of the word custom. George Barris, who was on the marketing side of the shop, decided to spell custom with a K, which is still used today to describe the mid to late 50s style custom cars. So it's just marketing,
Yeah, there you go.
not anything special.
It's all marketing.
You know, so at this year's Grand National Roadster Show, there was a Barris car there. And I think like George Barris's work like largely got me into like custom cars with a C.
Yeah.
Just because of how otherworldly they were.
Well, I think for anyone that's not super in tune with this scene, Barris is like the first name that you learn. You know, like Ratfink and Barris, and you're like, oh, he made the Batmobile for the 60s show or whatever, and then that kind of gets you into it.
The Mach 5, I didn't know he made the Mach 5.
He made the Mach 5?
Yeah.
Speed Racer one?
Speed Racer, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's like anime number one. Racing anime number one.
Because it's like a bubble top, right?
It's very cool.
Batmobile.
That's so cool.
The Munster car.
Did he do the wacky racers?
I bet he did some.
I'm sure he was in the background. Like,
Yeah.
that looks
Art
good.
direction. Yeah. On the east side of LA, another pair of brothers were creating a buzz customizing cars. The Ayala brothers. In 1945, Gil and Al Ayala opened up Gil's Auto Body Works on Atlantic Avenue in East Los Angeles. While the Barris shop was customizing for more of the high-profile clientele, the Ayala brothers catered to the Mexican-American youth and locals into custom cars, even forming their own club called the Auto Butchers.
Oh, sick name.
That's sick.
That's a sick name.
Yeah, known for cutting their cars. Dabbling in both hot rodding and custom cars, the Ayala brothers started to make a name for themselves for their buttery smooth customs such as Wally Welch's 1950 Mercury, Eddie Dye's 1929 Ford Roadster, and Gil Ayala's 1940 Mercury, which made the cover of Motor Trend in 1950.
Motor Trend was around back then?
Dude, Robert Peterson
That's
started.
true. Yeah. No, it's an old one. This
Oh,
Eddie
man.
Dye Roadster is sick. I like the paint. It's like a Merlot.
Whoa.
Ooh, a Merlot.
I love a good Merlot.
I love a good wine.
Oh, is this wine? I like wine.
When I go to the paint shop, I bring wine. Can you guys get this red?
You ever just like hang out at the custom shop drinking wine?
Yeah, I love getting metal flakes in my wine.
There's like a photo of like the front clip of this Roadster, and it looks like a big nose.
This thing, wait, is this on? This looks like it's on the green at Pebble Beach.
Oh, I bet it's been in Pebble Beach.
Yeah, Pebble Beach.
Yeah, that's like I think that's sick that some of these cars are still around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
It's sick now that they're like on Pebble Beach. Like I feel like back then they probably wouldn't be.
You know, that there's like that arc for everything that's cool. It started off like skunk works, punk, whatever. And then like rich guys get into it and then it becomes way unattainable.
What happened to GTRs?
Sigh.
So this was 2019. It was at Pebble Beach.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
I still
awesome. It's
haven't
still
been.
around.
I need to go. I need to
Next
go.
year.
Next year.
Next year we want to do an event at Pebble Beach that's kind of just like off the beaten path.
Whoa.
And maybe in like freaking Ross Dress for Less parking lot.
Yo.
Dude, we should just
I
sneak
can get
in.
khakis.
We should.
Can we just sneak in?
Yeah.
I want to sneak into a concourse thing. That's what I want my next infiltration to be.
It's not that hard.
I want to be like, but I want to become like a judge though.
Oh, that'd be harder.
Yeah, and then I'd be like, "Hey, your clock's not set to the right time. No points. You
No
know?
points, 0. Get out of here.
Get that F40 out of here."
I think all you'd have to do is like dress nice, carry a clipboard.
And then wear a clipboard and like a
lanyard.
tie or something.
Yeah.
Something that makes me look official.
I have done that before. It does work sometimes.
It does work.
Ladder, high vis jacket,
Yeah.
and clipboard. Those are the 3.
Clean shoes.
Clean shoes
Yes.
are good too. Yeah, don't wear Vans.
They,
The Vans are the
clean
giveaway.
they could be Vans. Hard sole Vans.
Yeah.
Put like a faux top on your shoe. Hubcaps for your shoes.
I printed out an image of better shoes.
Yeah.
So
Those
like,
Sperry's?
wait. So also, I just want to note out because you mentioned hubcaps.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize that like Buick Skylark rims were like the precursor to like Dayton's.
Big thank you to our sponsor this week, Yamaha. Guys, life is an adventure, and it's time to let more people in on the fun and share the journey. Introducing Yamaha's latest terrain-conquering side-by-side that combines class-leading power with maximum comfort and versatility. The all-new Wolverine R-Max 4 1000 has ample room for 4 adult passengers. They better, 4 of me in there, that's a lot of room. Plus, plenty of cargo space so you can tackle new terrain, expand your horizons, and go further than ever before. Side-by-sides are pretty much roller coasters that you control. These things are super fun. If you've never ridden in a side-by-side or driven one, get down to your Yamaha dealer, go for a little test drive if possible. You won't regret it. Experience its capability at YamahaMotorsports.com and see your local dealer today. Always protect the environment and wear your seatbelt, helmet, eye protection, and protective clothing. Read the owner's manual and product warning labels before operation.
Skylark wheels were like the wire wheels,
The Buick Skylark.
and people would put those on like their early customs and lower them, and that
Whoa.
was the style.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
sick. Those
Yeah.
are cool.
Are these center locking?
Do they have knockoffs?
Knockoffs? Yeah, knockoff center locks. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it. Kind of cool.
And like, if you couldn't afford to like buy a Skylark, you would maybe just like use hubcaps, right?
Yeah.
And like a lot of people were taking like sombreros from like Cadillacs and like putting them like on their car. And like when you talk to people who like live through this and like, you know about it, people were just stealing them.
Yeah.
People were just stealing them. And I'm like, that's interesting because even like when you talk to modern JDM people about like how they were accomplishing their aesthetic goals, like on their, DC Integras, for
Yeah.
example, they were taking, antennas from like the Euro cars, like the Golfs, and
Oh,
they
yeah,
were
on
ripping
top.
them off and they were just boop, putting them on top of their car.
Yeah.
The Pia headlamps, they were taking those from like old grandma ES 300s.
Yeah.
They were stealing them from those cars. They were putting them on their cars, and
Holy shit.
they were kind of like, they were hot rods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were hot rods.
That's nuts.
So it's interesting that some of that, like,
It all transcends.
History
Transcends,
repeats
yeah.
itself.
there you go.
By the mid-1950s, the custom car scene was growing at an amazing rate, and the style of customization was changing from understated to avant-garde. A great example of how the culture was evolving was the introduction of ornamental pinstriping, which is nowadays synonymous with artist Von Dutch.
Von Dutch.
Big canceled.
Big
Really?
canceled?
Von Dutch.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Big
Tell us,
canceled.
indulge us.
Yeah.
He was incredibly racist.
Oh.
Number one. I think that's not a secret though, you guys.
I only know his trucker hats. So
I don't know.
That's
This is the
same.
first. This is the first time I'm hearing about this. This sounds Von Dutch. His name sounds like he'd be like a Lego figurine, like a bad guy in the Lego set.
It was very that.
Yeah.
But there is this really cool photo of him that is like showing basically the body lines of a car through like his like, I don't know. There's this like really cool photo of like him on the internet, but big canceled.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I did wear Von Dutch. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Until
a
you
photo
found
of
out.
some very
A
2000s
little bit
people.
after I found out.
Oh, wow.
Because there was this like Von Dutch hat that I like thrifted, and it was like green, red, and white, and
Yeah.
it looked like turtle wax
Mhm.
colors.
Oh,
And I
cool.
was like, oh, this is a cool like automotive colorway, but
Well, if it makes you feel any better that those guys just stole that name.
right.
So it's not even really, it's kind of just fing over the original guy, which is what you want.
That's
'Cause
what I
he's a
want.
shithead.
Yeah, because he's a shithead. No, that happened in the 90s, right? There was like a documentary about
Yeah.
like
Really?
the IP of that.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta catch up on my Von.
Dude, watch the Von Dutch.
lore. I
The
had
Von
no
Dutch
idea. Why-
documentary
Yeah.
on the apparel, not the pinstriper.
Okay.
Although like I'm talking about fashion, like I think a lot of like what his claim to fame was, and Ed Roth's for that matter, is like pinstriping and airbrushing like kids' clothes, like when they would come and meet them, you know, at like meets, like people would bring their sweaters and t-shirts and he would
Airbrush it
airbrush
from-
them.
yeah.
Like
Oh,
there are
that's
people
cool.
who would like be like, hey, here's like my gas tank, can you like pinstripe this? And like, you know, Von Dutch would, is his name Kenny Howard? Kenny Howard? Yeah, Kenneth Howard. He would do it, you know, and that's great for them. Love that for them. Couldn't be me.
The paint colors were getting more vibrant. Candy paint was emerging from Customs legend Joe Balon in the Bay Area, and people ditched the black wall tires in favor of wide white wall tires that popped. There's one car that sums up the Customs of the early to mid 1950s. It's the Hirohata Merc. Built in 1952 for Bob Hirohata, this 1951 Mercury was a radical departure from the more formal, traditional custom car look.
This thing looks sick.
It's super sick.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was a vibrant mint green two-tone color with an elaborate green and white interior and pinstriping by Von Dutch.
I love a good two-tone.
Yeah.
Got some bros on it.
Especially with green, because it looks like it's a little bit like seafoam green, okay?
Like Arizona.
Iced
green tea, yeah.
I also, does this have the police like searchlights on the top?
That's what they were talking about before. The Customs had like the searchlight.
Those are sick.
Yeah.
Spotlights.
I
yeah.
always, I like those.
When the Hirohata Merc debuted in 1953, it immediately got press coverage. It was featured in 4 magazines that year alone: Hot Rod, Rod and Custom, Hop Up, and Motor Trend. The buzz the Merc got was the 50s equivalent of going viral.
It was #1 on trending.
Yeah, it was
the
on
YouTube channel.
viralhog.com. It got even more attention when Bob drove it 4,000 miles to the Indy 500 and back.
Whoa.
Wow.
This car became so legendary, it is now a national historical vehicle and recently sold at auction for over $1 million.
I want to know who bought it.
Wow.
I want to know who bought it.
Well, rightfully so.
Dan Blazarian.
Oh.
And he shot it.
Oh,
No, I'm just
God.
kidding.
No. Jesus, no.
God damn
Yeah,
it.
I just want to know. Oh, that's crazy. They probably have some really cool stuff in their collection.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Nearing the mid-50s, custom shops were starting to pop up more and more, and not just in Los Angeles, but all across the country. In NorCal, a young man named Gene Winfield was making a name for himself building unique custom cars. I see your head nodding. You know this name, huh?
I do know his name because he built like really dope custom cars. He also built like movie cars, and he's still alive.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Although like recently I have not seen or heard of him.
we got to do a checkup.
Actually, yeah, because something did happen
Okay.
to him. I don't know what particularly happened. The last time I saw him physically was at the Moon Eye show earlier this year, and he seemed to be in good health.
Okay.
But the GOAT, Gene Whitfield, is like, he has a huge archive of all of his work.
Oh, nice.
He's out there in the desert, you know, with like all of his projects, bubble tops, like set cars. He's great.
That's awesome.
All right, well, we got to do a check-in, make sure he's doing okay.
Yeah.
Really do.
Protect Gene Winfield at all costs.
For sure. Over in the Midwest, there was a fabricator by the name of Bill Hines who was restyling cars as well. Both Gene and Bill went on to become some of the biggest legends in the custom world. Bill was so influential, in fact, the next episode in the series is directly dedicated to him, so stay tuned for that. He's got a crazy story. With the proliferation of pinstripers such as Von Dutch and Dean Jeffries, the paint jobs on custom cars started to get wild and take on a life of their own. During this time period, Detroit was starting to get hip to what was happening in the custom world, so their factory designs became more radical, introducing fins like on the 57 Chevy and integrated exhaust and taillights into chrome bumpers.
The designers are like, oh, that is really cool what they're doing with that styling. We should put that on some of our factory cars. We can totally do that.
It's kind of what happened. I want to say this is like a weird reference, but like when the big three saw what was going on with Japanese cars in the 90s, that's when you got your like SRT4, your
Chevy Cavalier.
The Cobalt SS.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cobalt
Those
SS,
kind of like weird
Focus
tuner.
ST.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's
Cool.
cyclical.
I think like also a good way of like thinking about Gene Winfield's design language was like very like futuristic. He had like a level of like futurism that aimed to like smoothen out body lines, right? And like sort of take away from like factory like details, and then you know, do French lights and chops and crazy paint and things like that. But
Shave like the door handles and stuff like that.
all of it.
Yeah. I think that something that like I always think about, this is why I don't like sunroofs, is because most car designers, when they design a car, they don't have the sunroof in mind. They don't have door handles and like in mind. They don't think about mirrors. They're thinking about just the lines of the car.
Every car has a sunroof nowadays.
Yeah, every single one.
I have one in my car
Never
and I
use it.
never use it. I think
Useless.
sunroofs. Yeah, it's just like a selling point at this.
Yeah.
Mine's broken. I can't use it.
Just more weight.
And less rigidity, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
So because Detroit was catching on and integrating these custom designs into the new cars, the custom car style started to evolve to stay unique. Owners lowered their cars even further, added even more modifications, and went all out with elaborate paint jobs. Instead of spending time chopping roofs, customizers spent time and money on full scallop paint jobs with vibrant colors.
Scallop.
A prime example of this is the cover of Carcraft magazine, November 1957, which we're all very familiar with.
Are we?
No. There's a
Wait.
link, though, if you want to look at it.
Oh yeah.
Carcraft magazine is a cool name.
I actually found a couple of this edition for like $8 on eBay. I was going to buy one.
This
Well,
is cool. I like the cover
Now
of it.
probably is the time to buy, because like people are like really sleeping on this culture, like, and I think like, you know, with everything there's ebbs and flows and like peaks and valleys,
This
right?
is the valley.
I think this is a valley, you know.
Okay.
You can still like come across like a pretty decent, you know, Mercury or Ford or Chevy or Mopar or whatever, that somebody's just offloading because they're older and like they just need to get it out. You know, like I found a 48 Mercury coupe like 3 months ago that had just been painted. It had a really nice interior.
I think I remember this. You were trying to buy it.
And I couldn't.
It was in We were in Texas and we were stuck in the terminal, and you were like, "Hey, I need to like buy a car."
Yeah, that actually was the 1940 Chevy
Got it.
Oh.
Master 85. Didn't get that. And then I found a 47 Ford super deluxe coupe up in Santa Barbara, and I don't know if I'm gonna get that.
Oh, okay.
TBD.
It's a sickness we have.
It is.
We can't stop looking.
Yeah. I went up and I drove it. I taught myself how to drive a 3 on the tree that day,
Whoa.
and we almost crashed.
Nice.
Oh, shit.
Not nice.
No, I didn't almost crash the car, of course, because why the fuck? How would I almost crash his car? No, the guy who built the car was driving us, and then this car came out, and we almost like,
Oh, my God.
and I'm like, I fucking hope these brakes work.
Yeah.
This is how I go.
Oh, God.
But I'm going in a 47 Ford, you
Yeah.
know, like that is the coolest.
No seatbelts. You just fly out.
Yeah.
It's safer if you just fly out anyways.
You guys didn't know I could fly.
So all 3 cars on the cover of this magazine have conservative modifications but radical paint jobs. The change from fully modified Frankenstein cars to just custom paint and chrome was swift and abrupt, and it changed the custom car scene tremendously. Many see this era as the beginning of the end for the Leadsled or radical custom car. Meanwhile, in a suburb of Los Angeles called Bellflower, there was a brilliant young artist making waves in the custom car scene named Larry Watson. He got his start by going to the Barris Custom Shop in Linwood and watching pinstriper Dean Jeffries work his magic on a customer's car. Larry, who was a teen at the time, curiously asked Dean what kind of brushes he used, and Dean told Larry to get lost. So then Larry found out on his own and pinstriped his own 1950 Chevy.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, you want me to get lost?
Yeah.
All right.
You're not going to
Do
take
it
mine.
myself.
He cruised down to the local drive-in with the other customs and parked his Chevy with his own custom pinstriping. The other guys at the drive-in thought that Von Dutch had painted Larry's car, a true badge of honor for the young lad.
You were wrong.
You're wrong. I
You were
did
wrong,
that.
guys.
Yeah. Come on. How can you make such a mistake?
At the time, Larry was only a sophomore in high school, and by 1957, when he was a senior in high school, he had his own custom paint shop and had been featured on the cover of numerous magazines and articles.
That's so cool. Dang, I'm not going to the homecoming game. I'm going to go paint some cars.
Oh, I'm going to go beyond Hot Rod and Culture magazine.
Yeah. Have fun at prom, I guess. What if he actually, I don't know. Maybe he did go to prom. Maybe he didn't.
He probably took his car there at least.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, if I lived in, like, some alternate universe and, like, could go to prom in, like, 1957 and knew about Larry, I would just, like, ask him to pinstripe a suit for me.
That'd be cool.
sick.
That would be
That'd be
so
sick.
fire. Can you imagine such a
Real
thing?
old-fashioned hours.
Okay.
Larry was without a doubt the most influential paint innovator of the late 50s, and his techniques such as panel paint and his style of scalloping still live on today. Paint was by far the most popular appearance mod you could do to a car, but by 1957 a new trend emerged: extreme lowering.
Extreme.
Drop it to its nuts.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Even Larry Watson's personal custom car was absolutely slammed to the ground. So now, heading into the late 50s, customizers were focusing mainly on flashy paint, mild custom body modifications, a nice interior, and heavy static lowering, which means you can't change it.
Love that.
You're feeling every bump, and your butt is red by the time you get home.
Yup.
It must have been crazy uncomfortable in a car like that. Because, in like a lowered out like Miata, it's pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But to have like a car that's like pretty like all metal, like little to no bushings,
Yeah.
probably pretty uncomfortable.
I tend to, like, if you get in these old cars, though, they're pretty floaty.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit of wiggle room.
Okay.
Before it gets, like, completely...
Well, I'd like to think that these guys, they're going balls to the wall.
balls to the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can't imagine having a car that was like so rigid, sturdy, low, but like my seat is like a couch.
Yeah. Oh, that is true.
You know?
You
They
have,
got
like,
springs in some of them.
Huge,
Yeah.
long springs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like no seatbelts,
No.
no power steering, big wheel.
Oh, no power steering would
Like-
be
Huge wheel.
crazy in these cars.
Yeah.
It's the craziest, like it's wild.
We take it for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I take it out of all my cars.
So they were lowering their cars, but there was a problem, guys.
Oh,
The police started cracking down heavily on lowered
fuck
custom cars.
12.
Drivers would get hefty fines or even impounded. But two young guys from Long Beach found a workaround, one that would help them evade tickets, save their oil pans, and eventually lead to one of the most unique and iconic modifications ever done to cars. Jim Logue was a young custom car enthusiast from Long Beach, California, who was building a radical full custom 1954 Ford. This was the definition of a custom car. It had Mercury headlights, a Corvette grille, and a full custom molded trunk lid and spare tire combo. Jim wanted to find a way to evade the pesky police, and with the aircraft industry nearby, he came up with a brilliant idea. Use World War II aircraft hydraulics to lift his car and lower it with a push of a button.
That's so cool. Oh,
It was perfect. He could cruise low all day long, but once he spotted a cop that might give him trouble, all he had to do was raise the car up.
so I talked to Ross about this because I was trying to figure out what part of the aircraft they're using. Like, I was like thinking, is it part of the landing gear?
It might just be
Or-
the fins, like the
The flappers.
Flaps.
Flaps?
Yeah.
Or it could be because I believe when I talked to Ross about this, I asked what parts they were using, and I think it was from a B-17. And
I'm guessing it's the flaps, because think of like downforce on a car. Like 2,000 pounds of downforce is an insane amount.
Yeah.
But for an aircraft going 400 miles per hour, it's at least facing 200 or 2,000 pounds
Yeah.
of force.
Well, what I think they use, though, is the ball turret hydraulics.
Was
Because
that?
the ball turret, the B-17 has a ball turret on the bottom
Yeah.
that would raise and lower up.
Oh.
And I'm thinking they used parts from that. Because that
Yeah.
makes the most sense. Because if it was landing gear, it'd probably be a little too big. If it's flaps, it might have a weird design. So I think it's the ball turret.
That could hold up.
That's what I'm thinking it is.
That could hold up. Obviously, like the person who would know would probably be Jim himself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or Ross.
Yeah. I'm just a nerd for World War II planes, and I like to know these little details.
So that same exact scenario is happening 60 miles east of Los Angeles in the San Bernardino area. Another custom car builder. Is that where you're from?
Yup, San Bernardino County.
Shout out SB. Another custom car builder named Ron Aguirre was being harassed by police in his customized 1956 Corvette. So Ron added a hand lever operated porta-power pump to raise and lower the front end of his car.
That's sick.
Mm-hmm.
These innovative hydraulic suspension systems completely changed the outlook for custom cars in the following decade. In the late 50s and early 60s, a few more car customizers started to make names for themselves. Three of them that excelled during this era were the Alexander brothers of Detroit, Darrell Starbird of Wichita, Kansas, which is a sick name,
Cool character name.
and Ed Roth of Maywood, California.
All right.
That's my favorite.
Starbird was known for his bubble top custom cars. The Alexander brothers were known for their excellent design and craftsmanship, and Ed Roth was known for his radical designs and Ratfink characters.
Big Daddy.
He is, I think we did a Ratfink episode a while ago. He's
Yeah.
a character.
I remember that one.
Most of these shops focused on pure show cars at this point, not so much the street car or everyday customer. The writing was on the wall in the early 1960s for custom cars, especially in California. The old chopped lead sleds were the dinosaurs and lowriders were the asteroid.
Goodbye, lead sleds. Hello, lowriders.
By 1964, an example of a typical custom car would have a metal flake paint job with some emblems shaved off, custom chrome wheels with skinny white wall tires, and hydraulic lifts to raise and lower it. Gone were the chopped roofs, sectioned bodies, custom hubcaps, and fender skirts. The California custom car was becoming what we now consider the old school lowrider style, which blossomed into a vibrant and diverse scene which is still incredibly strong to this day. By the early 1970s, the custom scene was pretty much gone. A lot of the enthusiasts who were into vehicle personalization were either moving onto lowriders, custom vans, or hot rods and muscle cars. However, in the early 1980s, an organization named the Custom Kemps of America came together and single-handedly created a resurgence in the interest of old-school custom cars with the help of their annual Leadsleds Spectacular Car Show.
Did not know that.
Do you know this
cool.
show, though?
No.
Oh.
Have you heard of that
Leadsleds Spectacular.
organization?
No, haven't heard of Custom Kemps of America either.
Is
Kemps?
Kemp a word? Is it like a word that is used in
What does Kemps
customs?
mean?
Kemps.
Yeah.
I've had insurance that started with those 4
Kemp
letters.
is a coarse hair or fiber, not to
Custom
be confused
Kemps.
with hemp.
Weird. I've never heard that word before.
Yeah.
I mean, also like music was like shaping this stuff too. Like ZZ Top definitely was
Really?
like yeah.
Whoa.
ZZ Top for sure was pioneering some of like the cultural
Oh,
interest and like the resurgence of
Bringing
this
it
movement.
back. Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like there's a custom car in all their like music videos.
For sure.
Yeah.
ZZ Top. That's how they say it in England. The show paid homage to Leadsleds of the past while also ushering in a new generation of enthusiasts. Another car show that brought back interest into the custom culture was the Paso Car Show. Hundreds of traditional style custom cars would drive into the small town of Paso Robles in Central California and take over the town.
I love that. I love. I
Takeovers?
don't. Well, not take over, but like take over the town. Like
Yeah.
you know, like if you look at the old like H2I, I think it was the name of the show, like videos where they just like all the parking lots of the hotel were like filled up with cars.
Yeah.
Like it was a car show, pretty much the whole town.
That is
H20?
H2I or whatever.
Yeah.
On the East Coast. And now it's like gone. Doesn't exist anymore. I like that stuff though. Now like the last year it turned into kind of a takeover, which was kind of sad, but it used to be like a car show.
Legends such as Gene Winfield, Larry Watson, Ed Roth, and more would reunite and teach the next generation about their traditions. Nowadays, the custom car scene is stronger than ever and worldwide. You can usually find a custom car show close to where you live, at least in the US, and a growing interest from the younger generations to keep the custom flame lit. With people both paying tribute to original custom car culture and new innovations springing up, it's exciting to see this style live on with every new generation. Tune in next week for the second part of this series on one of the most influential people in custom car history, Bill Hines.
Does he make Heinz ketchup?
Wrong spelling, dude.
No.
I know you love ketchup so much, so I'm sorry. We'll do the
Sorry,
history of
guys.
Heinz ketchup eventually, but maybe like episode 500.
I hope so.
So
That's cool. This was sweet.
Yeah.
I just want to say like this was awesome.
Yeah.
dude, thank you so much for being on,
Yeah.
Brent.
Yeah.
You lent so much extra information to the episode that I would have never known.
Well,
I didn't know ZZ Top was that influential. I thought they just had the guitar that spun around on their belt buckle.
it was ZZ Top. It was the Stray Rats. It was
Yeah.
the Shifters. Like,
Whoa.
yeah, I want to leave on this note. Like, if there are like young people that are like interested in like this scene,
Yeah.
like definitely reach out to me. Reach out to Donut. Like, reach out to. Just go to the shows. There's, I think, a show happening on the 12th. That is going to be like a custom Rama.
This might come
show.
out after the show.
Oh, word.
But-
Well,
There's-
Find the custom car show near you.
yeah,
go to
for
it.
sure.
yeah.
Check out what's going on. See how many chopped roofs you can find.
Yeah,
Yeah.
French lights, Carson style
No.
tops, flared fenders.
You know, don't be afraid of like getting
Asking
into
questions
this stuff.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask questions to the older guys. Be like, how'd you do that?
Yeah.
How did he do that? How did he do that?
How'd I do?
We have some listener mail in this week. Jimmy, do you want to
Yeah,
read it?
I'll read that listener mail. Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you all for providing such a good, perfect podcast for while I'm at work. It's my 4th week at this new job, and they've had me working double overtime almost every single one of those weeks. So needless to say, I've binged almost every single episode, and I get some weird looks when I'm cackling at your guys' Forrest Gump impressions around my coworkers. Anyway, thanks for the laughs and making this job a little less miserable. Still Split. Well, thank you, Still Split.
Yeah.
Thank you,
appreciate
Still
that.
Split. That's awesome.
Great note. I've never done a Forrest Gump impression, but I can work on it.
Jenny.
Johnny.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Join us next week when we're talking about Bill the Lead Slinger Hans.
I heard that him and Forrest Gump were actually friends.
Yeah, you'll have to listen next week to find out if that's true or not.
Yeah.
Follow our boys, Rhett Twink.
Oh, yes, I am Rat Twink. You can call me Brent, though.
What's your Instagram?
At Concept Car
There it
Studio.
Concept Car Studios. That's what I'm. All right, let me take that again because it sounds like I'm just
great.
like.
That was great. I loved that. I was like waiting for that moment.
And follow RussellJimmy.jpg on Instagram, and I am Joji Weber. Thank you so much for watching. Tell your friends and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Good one.